Nearly 50% of people believe in ghosts. I didn't, until one unforgettable night at St. Mary's Chapel, when I experienced something so unexplainable, it shattered my doubts. You won't believe what happened. Imagine living in an apartment where every creak feels like a whisper. It started with the flickering lights and doors closing on their own, but nothing prepared me for the night I finally saw it. Living in that apartment felt like being under constant surveillance by something unseen. It started with odd noises, footsteps creaking on the floor above. Even though I lived on the top floor, shadows moved across walls with no source, always vanishing when I turned to look. The feeling of being watched was the worst. Every night, the hairs on my neck stood up and my chest tightened, like unseen eyes were fixed on me. Once, as I brushed my teeth, I saw a shadowy figure reflected in the mirror, standing just behind me. Gone the second I turned around. As the unsettling experiences in my apartment escalated, I became desperate for answers. Every night felt like a waking nightmare, with footsteps pacing the halls and shadows lingering in corners, watching. Exhausted and anxious, I finally decided to dig into the apartment's history. What I discovered left me chilled. Decades ago, a tenant had mysteriously vanished from my unit, never to be found. Neighbors reported hearing her screams late at night, and some claimed they still did. The tension in my chest grew with each discovery. Sleep became impossible. Every creak in the night sent my mind spiraling. I began keeping a journal, tracking each eerie event. Doors opening on their own, cold drafts sweeping past me even when windows were shut, and the sensation of icy fingers brushing my arm. Then, one night, it all came to a head. I was sitting on the couch, barely breathing, when I saw a shadow stretch across the wall. It wasn't just moving, it was slowly turning toward me. My pulse raced as I followed its gaze, and that's when I saw her. A faint, translucent figure standing in the dim light, her eyes wide with sadness. My fear turned to disbelief as I realized I was face to face with the ghost of my own haunting nightmare. The moment I saw the ghost will be burned into my memory forever. It was late at night, and I was sitting on my couch, clutching a blanket as if it could shield me from the overwhelming dread that had settled in the apartment. The room was dimly lit, shadows dancing along the walls, but this time, one shadow didn't move. My breath caught in my throat as I realized it was slowly taking form. Standing there, mere feet away, was a woman, pale and translucent, with long hair flowing like wisps of smoke. Her eyes were wide, filled with a mix of sadness and something I can only describe as longing. She wore what appeared to be an old, tattered nightgown, and her mouth moved as if she was trying to speak, but no sound came out. My whole body went cold. My heart pounded so hard, I could hear it echo in my ears. Fear paralyzed me. I couldn't run, couldn't scream. All I could do was stare in utter disbelief. After what felt like an eternity, she faded away, leaving the room painfully silent. The experience shattered any doubt I had about the supernatural. I became anxious, on edge, jumping at every sound. Sleep was nearly impossible. Every shadow seemed alive, and the sensation of being watched never left. I was no longer alone in that apartment, and the presence I'd felt for weeks had finally revealed itself, altering my sense of reality forever. Seeing that ghost changed everything. It shattered my skepticism and left me with a deep respect and fear for the supernatural. Living in that apartment became a constant reminder that some spirits never really leave. If you've ever had a chilling, ghostly experience, I'd love to hear about it. Share your story in the comments below, and don't forget to check out my other spooky videos for more hair-raising tales. Who knows? Your story might even inspire the next one.